Hello, welcome back to my YouTube channel. As most of you all requested, I thought of discuss one of your novels in your syllabus, Julie's People by Nadine Gordimer. So I know most of you all do Nectarinaceae when you have some videos I have done for that novel. And some of you do Tess of D'Urberville, and some of you do Life of Pi, and I think some of you began to do Julie's People as well. So this is also one of interesting novel in your syllabus. So we'll start we'll start a discussion based on this novel. I give you an introduction to the novel, then you can have an idea and you can start reading the novel. So throughout some other videos, I expect to explain the chapters in the novel as well. So if we take a look at the novel, it is published by Nadine. It was written by Nadine Gordimer and published in 1981. The novel set during a counterfactual, revolutionary time during the Civil War in South Africa. Black South Africans rise up and overthrow the white oppressors. So that is the basic idea, how the black South Africans rise up and overthrow the white oppressors. So that is basically the novel deals about that thing. So you find a couple, Maureen and Bam, the Smalls family, the white South African couple, and their servant Julie. So that the basic thing what you find in the novel, and basically you find that the Bam's family or the Smalls family, they flee from Johannesburg with their children. Julie, their black servant, brings them home to live in hiding. So the complicated nature of the complicated thing what we pay attention throughout the novel, it's their interracial relationship, which becomes a challenge throughout the novel. The interracial relationship that becomes a challenge throughout the novel. So that is what basically the writer discusses throughout the novel. So the novel addresses a broader political conditions in South Africa, plus closely examining the nature of the interracial relationships. So the writer examines the nature of the power and possibility of equality, how the power has gone from the power with the white people, and the power shifted to the black people. Then how people react on that, how people fight for power, and what people gain with the power. So the writer examines that, especially the nature of power as well as the possibility of equality. Then the book illuminates the effects of the apartheid. Apartheid, it's a word that you get when you read this novel. So the discriminating policy of racial separation used by South Africa from 1948, that is called as apartheid, the apartheid system, and how segregation impacts the relations between blacks and white. So that is what you basically see. As characters, you find Maureen, the wife, one of the major character in the story. Maureen Smalls. So she plays her role as the central protagonist, a liberal, middle class woman, grew up in the extreme apartheid condition, and then you find her husband, Bams, Maureen's liberal husband. He's introduced her the anti-apartheid politics, and Julie, the main character, comes from the rural African settlement, loyal servant, and offended by Maureen's presumptions. Then Martha, you find as Julie's wife. She's quite suspicious about the white people. Then Daniel, you find Daniel as Julie's young friend who teaches Julie how to how to drive, and learned how to use Bam's rifle. Then also he later you can see that he joins with the fighters as well. Then the chief the in of the Julie's chief of the Julie's region, he doesn't want black people from of his tribe in his region. He would prefer that white government maintain control of South Africa and upheld the system he lived. So a different thing, like even though he's a black person, he doesn't want the black people to be there. Then Victor, Gina, Royce, Julie's mother. So you find some interesting characters, especially the children, especially how they have adapted to the new situation. Because when the novel begins, you find that these people, the Bam's family, they have shifted to the Julie's place. Their servant, and they have shifted to the Julie's hut. So how these kids survived there and how they adapted to the situation, and at the same time how the Maureen, Bam's wife, one of the major character in the novel, so how she tries it, how she finds it difficult to adapt into this situation, and even at the end of the novel you can see that into extreme level. So that's the the character wise you can see how each character, now I told you at the beginning, this is about the interracial relationships and the politics. So how the power how these systems are changing, and how the power goes from one person to another person, how it affects to the people, and how people react on that. While some people manage to survive in it, while some people could tolerate it, you find some other people cannot tolerate that. They cannot bear that up. So they react in different ways. So you find all those things, you can discuss that separately. You can take the kids, the children, Bam's children, and Julie's wife, then Maureen, how these characters, how these people find it difficult to, or find it easier or difficult to adapt into these different situations. Then I will explain you a little bit about the purpose of the novel. What is the purpose of writing this novel? So there you can see the story outlines a fascinating perspective of the fascinating perspectives of the transformed identities after the Black Revolution. So the story outlines fascinating perspectives of the transformed identities after the Black Revolution, and the lack of norms and values that occur without a ruling regime in the society. Okay, and also the aspects of social disorder in the novel, arousing questions regarding how people socially interact within the kind of disarray described in the novel. I hope you got the point. How people, like you find different types of people as I have mentioned there. So how people socially interact within the kind of disarray described in the novel. So another perspective, you find the novel goes through the idea of feminism as well. Yet it's about feminism, but not much, but you can discuss that also a little. And also it examines the differences in the social behavior and social interactions during the interim order, like after one system collapse. Then after one system collapse, and it's like the the time between the two periods, like one system collapse, but the other system did not arise, but the new regime did not establish like a period of time. Like it's in between the time, like one system, there was a system. Like just imagine, white people governed, black people were the servants. So the white people were the masters, black were the servants, and that was the system. Then the new system is black people become the masters while the white people were like hiding behind the black people. So it's like now this is the time, like still the power has not gone to the black people. Now it's going to go to the black people. So it's the time between that, during this period of time. So how people behave, how people interact, how it affects to their relationships. So that is what discussed in the novel. And also like the questions how power is redistributed after the Black Revolution, how the power has how the power redistributed after the Black Revolution, right? So then I will explain a little about chapter 1 as well in some future videos. I hope you to explain about the other chapters as well, like this. So today I just in this video I just explain you a little bit about the first chapter. So the opening of the novel, you find that it is filled with the sense of mixed because these people, the Bam's family, they have transferred into a safe place to the Julie, their servant's place, yet they are not fully comfortable. The first scene, you find that Maureen wakes up in the mud hut. So there's a contrast, like she has been in a mud hut as a child, just as an adventure, but this is quite different. This is not for an adventure. She has not come for an adventure. She has come to escape. So there is a contrast in that as well. So Maureen's walking state, she is like realizing the gravity of her situation, like she is understanding the reality of this situation. And Julie is introduced to be as a sensitive person, as their servant, very humble, very loyal, right? So at the first scene, you find that Julie brings 2 cups of tea for Maureen Bam into their mud hut. Julie, like he just bent at the doorway and began the day for them as much as possible, as much as he could give for these people. So this shows about the racial segregation as well, natural hierarchy in the apartheid system, the racial segregation. You better find a definition. What do you mean by, what is meant by segregation and what is meant by apartheid system? You need to check them. You need to find out definition in order to understand the novel well. So Julie, you find that Julie knocks at the door. It's like he's like his humble nature, and how he's like trying to move on, or how he's trying to make these people adapt into this situation, and what else, that it shows like how the power it's moving from one side to the other side. So Maureen thinks about her childhood dreams and childhood experience when she slept in a mud hut for the recreational purposes. So those who actually live in mud hut cannot afford to go to Kruger Park. She was thinking about the park where she went for that adventure, but actually it's a kind of rich place, because the people, those who really live in mud hut, do not get that kind of, it's not that kind of experience actually. And also the people who live in mud hut cannot go to such parks as well. So then wealthy life contrasted with the life of the poor people, and the slavery, the slaves, then slavery allows this privilege to be like how the upper class people or the rich people uh, get the advantage of life while the poor people suffer, while the slaves suffer. Then Maureen, eventually you find that Maureen lives in the world that makes her privilege possible when taken away from home. So that's also like one thing. And also the objects of her what else, like objects of her shelves and symbolize her privilege and completely that she's completely alien to the black people of the country. Then also what about the children, how the children react, and the like these children, how they get the smell or how they find the surrounding environment, how they see these outside atmosphere. Then later on in the other chapters you can see how step by step how the kids get adapted into the situations, and also how Maureen finds it difficult to adapt into the situation, and Bam's reaction and Julie's reaction. So you have to pay attention to all those things. So that what I explained was what happened basically in chapter 1. You all can read that, and I gave a basic idea about the story as well in some of my future videos. I hope to describe you the other chapters. So most probably chapter 1, chapter 2 to 4 or 2 to 5, let's have a discussion in a future video. So keep on keep on with me, like you all can discuss, you all can send me your questions regarding Julie's people. So we'll discuss further. And once again I request you all to go through the novel well, read the novel, and the difficult word apartheid, segregation, so such words, analyze the words, pay attention to the words, do further analyzations, like further analyze the words, then you can have a good knowledge, you can understand the novel really well. So normally it says that you should read a novel at least 8 times, or like at least 8 times like that. So it's better if you can start reading further, read again and again, then you will understand it well. Okay, so thanks for listening, and I hope you got some points from this. So we'll meet soon with another video. Yeah, so let's meet with another video. Thank you for listening. Bye.